Hello, welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson promises to be very, very interesting. This is our first topic for the term. I hope you are ready to listen and pay attention as we learn. Our topic for today's lesson will be locomotor movement. Interesting. What is locomotor movement? Now, locomotor movement are movement patterns that involve shifting the whole body parts when moving from one place to another. So basically, locomotor movement involves shifting the whole body parts when moving from one place to another. A locomotor movement involves a physical action where a person could be seen moving from one place to another. A person can be seen moving backward, forward, or even upward using certain skills. Some examples of these locomotor movement patterns are we have jogging, we have galloping, and also we have skipping, running, walking, and so many others. There are so many examples of locomotor movement. We have so many of them. But in our today's class, we will be discussing about just a few of these examples of locomotor movement. Firstly, let's talk about jogging. Jogging is an example of locomotor movement that involves running slow and steadily. It is an example of locomotor movement that involves when I am running slowly and I'm running steadily. It is also a form of exercise in preparation for a major game, such as football and so many other examples of major games. Now, if you observe in a football match, you can see the players at the side of the pitch warming up or preparing to replace the players that are on the pitch playing the ongoing or the current football match. That is an example of jogging. Jogging is another example of locomotor movement is galloping. Galloping is a forward slide movement that involve using the foot. Now, when galloping, we move one foot forward while the second foot follow up quickly or almost immediately. The hands are also thrown forward and backward while galloping. Galloping is also a form of exercise that involves consistent practice. Another example of locomotor movement is skipping. Skipping is a very familiar example of locomotor movement. Skipping is very familiar with us because sometimes we see kids skipping whilst they are playing. Skipping is to make a short and quick jumping steps repeatedly. So skipping is to make a short and quick jumping step repeatedly. So the jumping step has to be repeated when skipping. And when skipping, one foot is raised after the other, or both foot can be raised at the same time. The landing is usually on the toes. So when I am skipping, when landing, I usually land on my toes with the feet close together throughout the skipping period. So when I am skipping, my feet are always close to each other throughout the skipping period. A popular example is rope skipping. Rope skipping is very, very common among us. Most of us as kids use skipping rope to skip. So rope skipping is usually done by children. I hope you've learned a lot in today's lesson. In our next lesson, we are going to be discussing so much about movement of machine and animal. Until our next class, see you and bye for now.